Hello, Donna.
Hello, this is so nice that I'm not the first one to start. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
I've actually been waiting for ages to do stuff with you and like to have you on this podcast. I'm super excited because I wanted it for a while. So like I admire you a lot. So and I love to watch all your stuff and things and I'm always learning. Um but I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. So your name and what you do, and I'm sure everyone is gonna listen, not watch, gonna learn so much here today.
So, hi, everyone who's listening. My name is Diane Lindemann, and I'm the co founder of a business called Girl Boss Hustle. And we actually just go by the acronym GBH. So, what do I do? I'm actually a business strategist, and I work predominantly with women whose businesses are throwing temper tantrums. And I'm always asked, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So for many of you who are mothers, and you don't have to be a mother of a child, you can be like Donna is, the mother of a dog, all right? When your children get to a certain age, no matter what they are, they begin to have their own personality and they begin to throw temper tantrums around what you wanting to do. So let's take that to the business world. So I work with predominantly women, who've been in business for about 2 years, 2 to 5 years. They've been successful. They've tasted success. They've had success in their business. But their business is now saying to them, if you're going to go to the next level, we have to do things differently. And you can't be the chief of everything in this business anymore. You can't be doing everything. And things start to go wrong. Stuff starts to fall through the cracks, and you realize that you have to do stuff in a different way, but it means that you've got to step outside your comfort zone. It means you've got to look at your business in a different way, completely differently, maybe to the way you were looking at your business to start. You've got to be leading your business in a different way, and you've got to accept that you've got to step into the shoes of being the CEO of your business. And that's a very different place to be in than being the chief of everything. So those are the kind of people I work with. And as I said, I'm a business strategist. So I'm always asked, are you a coach or a mentor? And I'm neither. I think I'm a bit of a mixture. You know what I mean? Coach, consultant, mentor, all three at one.
I
Does
don't
that
think
make
it's
sense,
good without
Donna?
the personal side of it, right? There's always the personal touch that makes it to be more of a coach. So
Yes. Yes.
I really touch. But how did you get to and decided that that's what you want to do? Where does it come from? So what's your why? Why you do what you do?
So my why
The
is
first time you
quite
didn't
simple.
answer so quickly. It took you a second.
Okay. Let's think about this. So my journey's actually been really long to get here. You know what I mean? To kind of get to the point where what I've just explained to you is where I'm focusing in. I left my corporate career quite a long time ago and then became a freelance consultant. And really what I did was I just swapped one boss for many bosses, right? And then I started being asked by people if I could work with them one-on-one as a coach, and I ran away from that. I didn't want to do that. And as we all know, the universe follows us and says, hang on a minute, like kind of find your purpose, find your purpose, find your purpose. And eventually I started to work with female entrepreneurs. Eventually I started to work with them. And then interestingly enough, Donna, last year, I got very clear that my skill set lies very particularly in a particular place with entrepreneurship. And that is that I have an ability to problem solve. I can see, and I don't say that, but my clients often say that. They say, Diane can see through the noise to the actual cause of the issue and then unravel it, but give me 3 steps out of it. You know what I mean? Like the first 3 steps. And I said, but everybody always says this. Have you ever been told this, Donna, where you just think that this is so logical to you, but everybody else is saying, wow, how can you do that?
That's what happened to me with social media, that people don't get, like, how can I be on all platforms and I'm still surviving and I'm fine and I'm smiling and all good. So I fully get it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that, because for me, it was just like, okay, that's interesting, because I just thought everybody else could do this. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a special thing. And then it just started coming more and more, and I started to attract those kind of clients. And then my business partner and I, Janine Basil and I, sat down and we started to think about our why. And we have big vision. Both of us have big vision. And we started to talk about $1 billion. And I'm specifically saying $1 billion because it doesn't matter what currency we're talking in. We said we wanted to create $1 billion. And then we worked, in actual fact, with one of our mentors, and he shifted us on our head and said to us, so do the two of you want to make $1 billion in your business, or are you looking to find a business you could work with that would make $1 billion? What are you doing? And we were like, we're not sure. And then our why came out of that. And our why is quite simply this. I would like to have 1,000 women become millionaires, and then I make my $1 billion.
That's amazing. I love it.
And that's my why. And really lying behind that is that the more women become wealthy, and wealth can be whatever your definition of wealth is, they impact their direct circle. So I always use this example. They get help. First thing they do is they get help at home. It impacts a direct circle. Then they start to make their life easier. So they have things like food delivered, all those kind of things. I call it the keyless life. And that's what we wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? It's particularly because I'm always asked, why do I only work with women? And it's not like I have a preference to work with women, but the reality is that I can see how I can impact better through women than with men, if that makes sense. So that's really my why.
That's actually an amazing one. I love it.
Yeah. And like I said, it's taken me a long time to get there.
So that's what I wanted to ask. So how many years you are in this entrepreneurship life, and how long it actually took you to get to where you are? Because I know that a lot of people, when they listen and say, maybe I'm just in the beginning, it's going to take for ages, or some people that are actually doing for so many years, but they're kind of stuck in a cycle and things are not progressing for them. So they want to lose hope, right? So how long it took you? What was that journey like?
So you're going to laugh. I fought entrepreneurship for 20 years. I fought it. Even longer, I think. My mother was an entrepreneur. My grandmother was an entrepreneur. So I'm actually a third generation female entrepreneur, which is almost unheard of in
I'm
people.
I'm the first one.
Yeah, you're the first. So my grandmother owned a nursery school. Do you know what I mean? A kiddies creche and whatever. And my mother had multiple businesses. And I grew up in this entrepreneur lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? Like this absolute entrepreneur thing. And it scared the hell out of me. It really did. It scared me because I saw my parents have money, and then my parents have no money, and then my parents have money, and then my parents have no money. And my parents worked. And really, I went into corporate because I insisted that I was never going to be an entrepreneur. I was never going to allow myself to do that. But if I look back now, I never approached any of my jobs in any other way than as an entrepreneur. So it used to get me into trouble because I was always thinking about how we could better stuff, what new clients we could go after, You know what I mean? And I've in actual fact sent two of my previous bosses who I get on really well with. I sent them messages saying, I've done a hell of a lot of work on myself and I'm so sorry I gave you such a hard time. But I've really realized that I was never an employee. I just never saw myself as an employee. I saw myself as a co-owner in this because I worked at multinationals and stuff like that. And then I turned 40 and I had the midlife crisis. No, I didn't really have the midlife crisis. I just started to question that I had success, but I wasn't happy. Do you know what I mean? And it was coming at an incredibly massive cost to me in all areas of my life. It was just health-wise, family-wise. I had 4 children, family, and I was just traveling. That's all I was doing. I was just on airplanes. You know what I mean? And I was just firefighting constantly. And I did what I never suggest anybody else does. I jumped off the building. I just resigned with nothing to go to. No, I just resigned.
I did the same, so I can resonate.
Okay, so you can. So maybe that's why you and I like each other. Okay.
But I've done it at the age of 37, I think.
Okay, so you were a bit ahead of me. All right, you were a bit ahead of me. And then, in actual fact, I was going to start a business, and then I landed up in this freelance world. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of where clients that I'd worked with in my previous company started to get a hold of me, but I never actually went back to what I was doing previously. I didn't reinvent myself, but I took stuff and I put stuff together and I started facilitating a lot. And yes, I ran my own business, but I ran my own business without risk. And this is why I'm telling you that, is I took a very strategic decision at that stage that I never was the direct person with the client. I was the freelancer. So whether you got paid, Donna, if I worked with you, whether you got paid or not had nothing to do with me, right? I didn't want that risk. I didn't want to do the sale, and I didn't want to have the financial risk. And for lots of women, I say to them, don't be scared to do that. Do you know what I mean? But you've got to put a time limit on it, because you are going to become upset by it.
Yeah, I'm assuming at a certain point it's going to nag you and you say, like, enough is enough. Like, why am I the middleman?
Yes. And for me, it started happening where there was a big client who kept on consistently saying to me, but I want to work directly with you. Why do I have to go through these people? I don't actually like these people, right? I don't like their back office processes. I don't like the way they do things. And I'm like, don't really want to work with you. Do you know what I mean? And that started to happen. And then I had a moment, and I share it quite openly. There was something that only I could do for this organization, and they had me do this work, and I earned good money. Don't get me wrong. I earned good money for these 2 days that I stood in front of this client. But by accident, I saw the invoice lying on the CEO's desk of what the company who had got me in to do the work was being paid for my 2 days. And I want to just put it into context for you that I created all the material. It isn't just I was using somebody else's material to do this. I had done all the client liaison beforehand, setting everything up, doing everything. And they were earning, I think it was about 15 times what I was earning on that day.
Sure, that's crazy.
And they still gave me shit. And, it was like, and I just, when you have that like aha moment again, it was like, what? I was like, what am I doing? All right. And I just went back and I kind of sat down and I thought, no, I've got to change this. I I've got to kind of go after this business directly rather than through somebody else. But I knew that would be very, very hard. And then then what actual fact happened is that I went to a lunch, and I always tell the story. I went to a lunch and I was trying to decide what I was going to do. And I'd been thinking about I'd been coaching at executive level in a big corporate with some of the corporate guys. And I liked it. I really liked it, but I didn't think I was making the impact that I could be making. And I was at a lunch with women, and I hadn't really worked with a lot of women by that stage, not in my career and not in my freelance. And one of the ladies asked a question. And I didn't know these women from bar of soap. I mean, I knew my friend who'd taken me to this lunch because they were all female entrepreneurs. And she said they're amazing and I must meet them. And this lady asked the question, and nobody could answer this question. And I kind of went, do you mind if I answer it? And she said, yes. And I said, I think you should, if you thought about this. And everybody looked at me and they said, how do you know that? And I said, but haven't you guys done A, B, C, whatever it was? I can't even remember what the question was. And they just looked at me, and I got that these women had not been exposed to the stuff I'd been exposed to. And what I was taking for granted, they didn't know. And Donna, I wonder if that's not sometimes the same for you.
No, I can fully resonate. I will never forget that the first time I've asked in one of the groups, do you know who's your target market, for example? And for me, it's basic from my corporates, from my studies. And then I realized that most people don't even know it. Like, never even thought for a second just to even ask themselves the question. They don't fully understand what's going on. And then from time to time, I realize as well on how people look at social media. And it's funny that you're saying it, because it's also part of a conversation I had with someone else about coaching, that now every second person can become a coach, right? I've done an NLP course or whatever, and now I can do coaching, but they not necessarily have the certain type of perspective and point of view. As for example, you come with things that are very clear to you because of the way you think, your corporate life, the mix of stuff. And then when you come to that entrepreneur side, and you see that a lot of people actually don't have the right tools, and there's a lot of people that try to give them the wrong tools as well, because that's why they know. And I think that's why I also really love the group that you created. And I love it that it's a lot of good quality content, because I remember when I first started this journey, I couldn't find enough groups that were I couldn't actually find at all, groups that you can actually share content. That it's not just a copy paste of what I'm advertising, that no one even actually looks at what you're advertising.
Correct.
And that's why I loved it so much. And I'm so grateful. So everyone, you guys have changed the name. So I was actually making a joke with someone today in the morning that I still search for Girl Also. Sometimes then I forget, they've changed the name. Wait, what's the new name? So I would love you to share a bit about this group. And I invite everyone who's not on that group to join this group, because it's quality content. It's a different type of discussion. And that's something that can really help you in your journey as a female entrepreneur.
So thanks, Donna. Thanks for the shout out. And that's where my journey with female entrepreneurs started. I kind of answered the question. I left the lunch. The lady whose question I had answered got my telephone number from my friend and phoned me and said, would you mind coaching me? And I was like, I'm not sure. Let's just have a first little conversation, whatever. And she became my first client. And in actual fact, she's still a client. And that's how I landed up, right? So my journey into entrepreneurship was quite interesting. You said to me, share one or two of the lessons I've learned, right?
Yes.
Think bigger than what you are.
Which is tough to do.
Much tougher.
A lot of the time we doubt ourselves.
So what do I mean by that? So it's an exercise I've done a couple of times, and I do it with clients consistently, where I ask them, what business do you want? So, Donna, you asked a question about the target market. So I ask my clients this question, and to those of you who are listening, I want you to take this question to heart and really think about it. Are you building a legacy business? Now that means that this business you're going to be in for the long haul. Okay. It might mean that you're going to pass the business to your sons. Whoever. I'm using my husband as an example. My husband is building a legacy business. That business is going to be passed to our children. All right. It's a legacy business. It's a long term. A legacy business is often built around the individual. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be in that business long term. Are you building a business that you want to sell? At some point, do you want to only be in this business for 5 years and then leave the business, right? Or are you building a business that you're not 100% sure on which of these it is? Now, that's a critical question right at the beginning of your journey to answer. People always say to me, but why? Because you build those 3 businesses very differently. Very differently.
And I think we don't actually think about it. Like, when I started my business, I was thinking about it more from the side of, because after my mom died, I realized that was my wake-up call, that enough is enough. I don't want to do things for others. I want to do something for myself and for me to feel good with it. And I just went along with that journey, which I wasn't even expecting to get to where I am now at all. But when you did ask this question, I was like, I knew immediately the answer, that I wanted is a legacy. Like, because that's where I'm seeing it. But it is an interesting question, and I would recommend everyone to actually ask themselves. It doesn't matter like how many years you've got your business. It's actually going to help you to redirect yourself to where you actually want to be.
So if we took it even more practically, answering that question at the beginning of your business even defines the name of your business. Because if I'm building a business that ultimately I don't want to be involved with long term, you know what I mean, 20 years, whatever, I'm not going to pick a name that is associated, Diane.com. I'm not going to pick Diane.com. I'm going to pick a name that ultimately can stand alone and have no association with me. Now, people are always arguing with me and they say, well, if you look at something like Calvin Klein, or it was sold from Calvin Klein to somebody else. I'm like, yes, but that's different, all right? They decided that was a brand that was sold, all right? It wasn't, but so we've got to go back. We've got to pull ourselves back. The other question is to ask yourself, what do I want? Okay. Now, do I want to have a big business with 20 people who work for me? Is that what I want? Or do I want a lean business? Do I want a business where I use freelancers? And both will make exactly the same money, but I'm a lean business, right? And that's where I'm a lot of times saying, think bigger. Do you know what I mean? Take yourself there already and start now, because then it becomes easier. Don't get into where I see a lot of people I work with where this thought process was never had, and now the business, that's what I'm saying, the business is throwing a tantrum. Do you know what I mean? It's the clients, the business is throwing a tantrum because now we're having to go back to basics because at the beginning you didn't think about these basics.
So I always say to it, I treat it as more like that a lot of businesses finding themselves on a survival mode all the time because they don't have this clear structure, like a strong foundation that they built from the beginning, and from there they're growing. And they're just spreading and they're going to whatever opportunity there is around them. And it's kind of like, okay, it's like I always say, it's like the spaghetti that you throw it on the wall, whatever sticks, whatever falls. And that's it. It's like, okay, I made it. At least I cover my expenses this month. Instead of actually working hard and smart in the beginning. And as you said, like have a clear structure to where you want to be and where you want to take your business and all that, and work step by step. And then your life is even easier after. Yes, it's hard in the beginning to build your name, to build your brand and everything. and you will want to give up. Like, I'll ask you, how many times have you thought to give up? Because that's something I ask everyone.
Last week, Monday.
I love it.
All right. So for those of you who are hearing this way in the future, I'll give you the exact date. All right. The 14th of June, 2021 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, lying on my bed crying, going, what the fuck am I doing? Okay. Is the last time I wanted to give up my business. Right. Because that's the other thing. It's not a bed of roses. It is.
When I look at you do it, I'll be like, wow, she knows what she's doing. It looks like everything is walking so smooth, and like I'll be like, oh, like I also want to be like in that place. And then it's like such an amazing thing to hear from someone that, like, the way I perceive you, and you're saying, you know, I literally just a few days ago were thinking like that's it, I'm done. It makes you realize, okay, I'm not in this alone. It doesn't matter how many years you're doing it. It doesn't matter how many clients or money you're earning. You do have moments that you break up, you're breaking, and like you say, I'm done. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yes. And look, and I think there, if I had to say to you what pulled me out of it, something that I have that not many other people have, right? My entire family are entrepreneurs. So, you know, I had the breakdown. My husband just said to me, and my daughter said, and my one son was at home, and they just said to me, just cry. Do you know what I mean? Just get it out, scream, do whatever, sleep on it, see where you are tomorrow. But I know for many people, they don't have that because they understand that absolute where it's like, oh my goodness, what the hell now? Do you know what I mean? So it's that. If you don't have that, you've got to find that. You've got to have the person who's going to pull you out of it. You know what I mean? That's the first thing.
I fully agree. And that's why I think, like, for me, that when I started it, I started in a different country, not in my home language, not in my home country. And then none of my friends come from, like, you know, from entrepreneurships. Like, everyone works in different corporates. Until I found that network, actually, that I got through you on from a Facebook thing that you recommended me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow, okay, I'm not alone. And I think that's what really helped me. And during COVID, I even met more and more and more people, which helped me, because you're right. Like, a lot of my friends that work for corporates, they cannot understand what it is when, like, when it's enough. And then someone come with a job proposal, and you're like, maybe I should just grab it and take it and make my life easier.
Yeah.
I just had it recently, and I was like really debating with myself for a week. Should I do it? Should I not? But I said, like, you know what? I'm not giving up my dream. I'm doing it full power, and that's it. That's it. No giving up.
Yeah, it is. And don't the job proposals arrive when you don't want them? Do you know what I mean? They only come when you're on the bed thinking, maybe I should get a job. And then the job proposal arrives and you're like, okay, universe, I hear the test. I hear the test.
That's how I felt. Why are you testing me now? Seriously. But it just gave me the push that I needed to take my business to a better even direction than it was. And then I'm like, okay, now I get it. But we're always smart, like, after the fact, to understand it. And I think that's why it's really important to really have the right supporting group that will help you and encourage you, because it's not an easy journey.
No, it's not.
It's like crazy, but it's also very rewarding.
And then the second thing I always tell everybody to have, and I wasn't very good at that, and I've definitely got better at it, is to have what I call a brag file. All right. And what I mean by that is, and it doesn't matter where you are in your business journey, you can be right at the beginning, you can be way into your business journey, is to have something that you can open where it's a client that said amazing stuff about you. You know what I mean? Like a testimonial that says, oh my goodness, I worked with Donna and this is what I got out of it. Or a piece of work that you're really proud of. You know, maybe if you're an artist, maybe if you're somebody who's creative, something you put out there where you got such brilliant commentary on it. Go back to that. Go back and look at those things, because that sends the dopamine hit to your brain. You know what I mean? And says, but hang on, it's not all bad. Look at the amazing stuff you've already achieved. And those two things, you know what I mean? And the third one, obviously, for me is movement. I'm always change your environment, get moving. You know, if you can go to the beach, go to the beach. Just get out of your environment, move, walk away from your desk, do something, and give it, I mean, sometimes it takes 4 or 5 days for you to come out of this. But yeah, so I hope that helped, Donna.
No, it does. And like, that's one of the reasons why I adopted a rescue dog. You can even hear me on the show saying that I need to do more walks. So that's why I got him. So I can do the walks, clear my head. I do my yoga in the middle of the day. So that helped me to find my creativity back. And I did learn that it's okay to have a bad day and to just lie on the couch and cry and moan and watch a stupid TV series that you don't need to use your brain.
Yep.
And the funny thing that for me, it's helping me so much that like after half an hour, I'm like, okay, I'm up, I'm ready. Then I'm finding myself like wiping my tears and I'm preparing a new video for my YouTube channel or something. It always kind of puts you and give you the encouragement after. But it's just too hard this place to happen. So just before we end it, like anything else you want to say, mention, share that it's important for people to take with them?
I think I want to share 2 things. Go back to what we've just said. 3 things. First one is find your network. Super. Find your network. Make sure you're surrounded by women who are supportive. Okay, make sure, even if it's one, just make sure, right? Second thing is, don't get stuck in perfection. Don't get stuck in perfection.
I learned it the hard way.
Do not get stuck in perfection, because perfection is just a form of procrastination. That's all it is. That's all what that perfection is.
And I adopt this one.
Yeah, and the third one. And now it's gone out of my head. Can you believe? Oh, no. And the third one is 9 times out of 10, you have the knowledge you need. You just don't know how to implement it. So what I see is people going and getting more and more and more and more knowledge. They don't need more and more and more knowledge. All right. They need to take the knowledge that they have and implement that first before they go learn something new. So those would be my 3 tips.
And I super agree with all of the 3, and especially also with the last one, because, you know, that's what I see people are doing with social media. They're trying to get so much knowledge, and then eventually they're getting lost instead of actually using social media to their benefits. Take whatever you can for yourself. Yes. So I really hope that for everyone who listen, like that, I have lots of takeaways here, and I hope you guys have, so you can share as well in the comments wherever you're watching it. And of course, you can get all the links. It's going to be in the description, so you're more than welcome to connect with Diane and ask questions and join the group. But you need to have to say the new name because it's something, the evaluation, right?
Yes, it's called the Elevation Cafe for female entrepreneurs. So, yep.
So you guys need to join, and it's an amazing thing. No, I love it. It took me a while to find groups that you can have a proper conversation and get people to think, and it's not just like a copy paste of like advertisement. So and I think that's super important. And thank you so much for today.
It's an absolute pleasure. Have a gorgeous, gorgeous day, everyone.
Thank you, guys.